many books on conversion. One that I have in my room here is Healing the Original Wound.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful book on the process of conversion. You also have Spiritual Journeys. I think it was
Spiritual Passages.
Spiritual Passages, exactly right, which is more of a psychological perspective on that. Given your understanding of conversion, let's say you're talking to non-Catholics out there, helping them understand the Catholic perspective of the journey of faith, of salvation. What would you say to them? How to help them understand the Catholic view of salvation?
Well, let's say, first of all, conversion is a moral thing. You have to convert your heart to God. And a great many very good non-Catholic Christians are converted to God. They're deeply and sincerely believers. Tomorrow I'm going to be speaking at a Southern Baptist seminary, and I'm sure I will be talking to many very real disciples of Christ. The conversion into the Catholic Church from another Christian denomination is also an intellectual conversion. It's learning things about the very early church and recognizing that the early church is the church that is the Catholic Church today. That's more of an intellectual thing. You take Cardinal Newman, who was a saintly man already. He was a very good Christian as an Anglican. And I think that probably, for many people, probably yourself, the door to coming into full communion with the Church of Christ has been to realize that many of the things said about the Catholic faith are distortions. They're untruth. Scott Hahn speaks about that. He had read this book, Roman Catholicism, and when he finally studied it was a different thing. There's a lot of misconceptions. And then secondly, to understand the early church, the very early fathers of the church, St. Ignatius of Antioch, who was by one man the successor of Peter as Bishop of Antioch. I mean, you're back to the time of the apostles. And I heard a distinguished Protestant theologian, Robert McAfee Brown, say many years ago, the more that we look at the early church, the more the signs point to Rome. What's the great obstacle? It's the bad example of Catholics. Catholics have not done a good job of being the true church. When St. Francis de Sales died, he was Bishop of Geneva, Switzerland, after the Reformation. He never got to Geneva. And he was a very holy man, and his book, The Introduction to the Devout Life, was read by Protestants everywhere, even though he was a Catholic bishop. And when Francis de Sales died, the Protestant people said, if all the Catholics were like Francis de Sales, there wouldn't be any Protestants. Protestantism represents a failure of Catholics, but not a failure of Catholicism. And you know, we open our heart to God. None of us would be anything but hopeless agnostics or atheists without the grace of God. None of us.
I remember seeing